For most college basketball players, being picked in the NBA draft is a dream come true. What college athlete doesn't want to be catapulted into the luxury lifestyle of an NBA court all-star? Women, fame, money, and all the recreational drugs known to mankind available at the simple snap of a finger. And those are just some of the so-called perks offered to today's young athletes. In today's video, we're going through some of the most shocking drug addictions suffered by NBA players. Which NBA superstar crashed his car high on heroin before getting clean? Which drug-addicted court favorite ended his NBA career after just 3 seasons? Keep watching the video to find out. Robert Swift. Having gone straight into the NBA from high school when he was picked by the Seattle Supersonics in 2004, Robert Swift had enough talent and promised to have gone on to enjoy a career mirroring that of Michael Jordan or LeBron James. Standing at 7'1", Swift was propelled without much preparation into the spotlight, becoming a court rookie and a millionaire at the age of 18. Most would imagine that Robert Swift had already achieved it all, but the fame and pressure had been getting to him since his early days with the Sonics. Despite having signed a $4.4 million deal, he was also notoriously bad with money and quickly running out of it. When his relationship fell apart and he was ordered to pay $5,000 per month child support to his son, the former NBA rookie hit rock bottom, developing an addiction to cocaine before experimenting with all kinds of other drugs, finishing with heroin. Swift threw his promising NBA career down the drain and finished penniless, defaulting on a mortgage payment before moving in with his dealer. Since then, Swift has received rehabilitation treatment and in 2018 restarted his basketball career, this time in Europe. Lamar Odom. Up next is a famous face known by some for his high-profile marriage and subsequent divorce with Khloe Kardashian. Lamar Odom had struggled with several addictions even as a youngster, but his problems seemed to snowball when he started to experience a bit of fame and success in the NBA. Harboring a secret addiction to drugs, notably cocaine, and to sex, Odom's problems took a turn for the worse in 2001 when he played for the Los Angeles Clippers, where he received his first NBA suspension for drug abuse. Unfortunately, he didn't seem to learn his lesson, as he went on to fail another drug test just 8 months later. While things got better for Odom when he joined the Los Angeles Lakers, he later received a DUI in 2013, and things seemed to spiral from there. In 2015, high on cocaine and having taken numerous doses of Viagra, Odom lost consciousness in a brothel in Vegas after a 4-day drug and alcohol binge. He was transferred to a hospital and put on life support, and luckily managed to survive, with doctors hailing his recovery as nothing short of a miracle. As of today, Odom has been clean and happy and seems to be keeping his addiction demons at bay. Josh Howard. Next up is Josh Howard, a known and unapologetic advocate of marijuana. While his open addiction to marijuana didn't ruin his life altogether, many believe that his advocacy for and addiction to the drug greatly impacted his career, and not in a positive way. He began his basketball career with the Dallas Mavericks, helping them reach the NBA Finals in 2006 and reaching his peak performance and the peak of his career in 2007. In 2008, he confessed to regular marijuana use while competing in the NBA. While many have appreciated his candor in talking about his drug use honestly, some also believe that he has abstained. Some also believe that had he abstained from the drug or even simply indulged his addiction less frequently, he could have been an NBA All-Star. Michael Ray Richardson. Our next NBA player who battled an addiction, Michael Ray Richardson, who was the first ever player to be suspended by the NBA in their anti-drug program, which commenced in September of 1983. Richardson was an NBA superstar, playing for the New York Knicks, Golden State Warriors, and New Jersey Nets during his 8-year career. However, like many young athletes, Richardson struggled to cope with the pressures of the all-star lifestyle and ended up turning to drink and drugs for relief. His story mirrored that of many young athletes who came to the NBA from high school or college and were thrust into the limelight and the accompanying glamorous lifestyle at too young an age. Michael Ray is not a unique case, Michael's agent said at the time. Here's a kid who, right out of college, was chased by agents, probably offered large sums of money by them, is approached by people with drugs to give him, and really just finds himself in a different world. This story mirrors not just young athletes, but the trajectory of many young celebrities thrust into the spotlight today. As for Richardson, while he was reinstated by the NBA, he never returned to the court, instead spending most of the rest of his career in Europe. Chris Herron. Next up is perhaps one of the most extreme cases of addiction and drug abuse in the NBA, Chris Herron. Chris Herron was destined to be an NBA superstar. Coming from a basketball family and finishing high school with 2,073 points, sports stardom seemed inevitable for the young athlete from Massachusetts. Yet problems began early for Herron. At Boston College, where he had been lauded as an upcoming superstar, even being touted by magazines such as Rolling Stone and Sports Illustrated, Herron began abusing drugs, testing positive for cocaine and marijuana before playing season even began. Later in the year, after a wrist injury sustained in his first college game, Herron was suspended from both his team and the college for 2 further failed drug tests, both again testing positive for cocaine and marijuana. Herron's drug problems followed him everywhere, including to the NBA in 1999 when he was drafted by the Denver Nuggets before before switching to the Boston Celtics. His use of drugs escalated during his time playing with the Celtics, adding Oxycontin, Vicodin, and Percocet to his drug intake and ultimately ruining his NBA career. After overdosing on heroin in 2008 and crashing his car, Aaron got sober, but his NBA career was wasted on drug abuse and he was never able to recover. Shawn Kemp. Next up on our list is Shawn Kemp, who boasted an incredible basketball career before drug problems forced him off the court. Kemp enjoyed incredible success in the NBA. He went to 6 straight All-Star games with the Cleveland Cavaliers and Seattle Supersonics and was unofficially titled one of the greatest in-game dunkers in basketball history. However, in reaching his 12th NBA season, problems began to surface with drugs and alcohol. During the off-season of 1999, Kemp had developed an addiction to cocaine and alcohol and hadn't managed to get the problem under control when the playing season resumed. His weight was up, his game was down, and his points per game went from an average of 17.8 to a shocking 6.5. These numbers continued downwards until 2002, when he was eventually out of the game. For a former NBA superstar like Kemp to decline so rapidly, it's hard to imagine that the drugs and alcohol didn't play a role. Would he have had even more wins had the drugs and alcohol not greatly impaired his performance? We think so. O.J. Mayo. Another up-and-coming basketball star who threw their career down the drain with their drug addiction was O.J. Mayo. Mayo averaged 20.7 points per game and was the overall number 3 pick when he was drafted by the Minnesota Timberwolves in 2008, catapulting the young athlete into stardom and into the NBA. But like many of his contemporaries, drug problems had started early. In a traffic stop in 2007 before he was drafted, police had found marijuana inside his car. While charges were dropped in 2007, Mayo continued abusing drugs throughout his NBA career, moving on to harder substances such as cocaine. After failing several drug tests, Mayo was eventually suspended by the NBA in 2016 for 2 years, with the NBA citing violation of the drug policy as the reason. Mayo was the first player to be handed this punishment in the NBA in over a decade. While the NBA career may be over for this former rookie runner-up of the year, Mayo eventually succeeded in getting sober and restarting his career. In September 2021, Mayo signed with Unix Kazan of the VTP United League. Richard Dumas. Up next is Richard Dumas, a small forward from Oklahoma State University who was chosen by the Phoenix Suns in the 1991 draft. Dumas showed amazing potential on the court despite dealing with drug problems from the age of 12, but his drug abuse and self-described addictive personality put a premature end to what could have been a glittering NBA career. Throughout his rookie year, Dumas averaged 15.8 points per game, shooting over 52% from the field. However, as early as the 1991-92 basketball season, Dumas failed a drug test and was suspended from the NBA for violating its substance abuse policy. Dumas, who had helped Charles Barkley and the Suns reach the 1993 finals, ended his NBA career after just 3 seasons, ending with the 76ers and retiring from basketball fully in 2003. So that's our roundup of the most shocking addictions suffered by NBA players. Do you think that the media puts too much pressure on these young athletes, which turns them to drugs and alcohol to de-stress? Or do you think that many just get seduced by the glamorous NBA star lifestyle and drugs are simply a part of that lifestyle? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more NBA content in the future sent straight to your inbox.